So how do you know this is not just an argument and this is more than that, right? When does it become an abuse?
From the Garden State, New Jersey, from one mom to another, it's time for Mom's Talk. Here's Avani.
Welcome, Supermoms, to Mom's Talk. I am your host, Avani, and we have with us today a supermom who has worked as a domestic violence advocate with New York Police Department, NYPD. She's now working with an organization called SAKHI. Welcoming Shilpy Chatterjee. Welcome to the show, Shilpy.
Thank you so much, Avani, and a big hi to all the super moms out there. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Avani.
Thank you, Shilpy. Shilpy, what is this organization SAKHI all about? I can make out from the name SAKHI. It means friend. So, what is this organization all about?
Yeah. So Sakhi, as you guys might know, it means a woman friend in Hindi. So here we are trying to be a friend to a person who is in a domestic violence situation. So Sakhi serves survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault in South Asian diaspora. So we started with providing services to women survivors, but slowly we are moving to include all survivors, which would include LGBTQ plus community and even male survivors. Because the more we work in the field, the more you realize that domestic violence doesn't discriminate, right? It exists in all relationships to whatever extent. And it doesn't matter whether the survivor is a male or a female, because a survivor is a survivor and they deserve healing, they deserve services. So we are opening our services to include male survivors as well. We are recognizing the need in the community for this, and SAKHI is slowly moving to include all survivors. So this started 31 years ago, and this is the first organization of its kind which has been serving South Asian diaspora. We have clients from Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Afghanistan, and the beauty or the unique character that SAKHI has is that it believes in developing relationship with the survivors, with its clients. Because, resources or services are available, but what's not available to a new immigrant is that cultural humility, that feeling of home. And that is what we try to provide our survivors.
इतने टाइम से शिल्पी आप ये काम कर रही हैं. You've been doing this for so long now. आपको क्या लगता है, क्या एक ऐसा point है where you think that people need to draw the line? How much is acceptable for them and where to draw the line?
That's a very good question, Avani. And I get asked that a lot because her relationship mein there are arguments, right? There are ups and downs. So how do you know this is not just an argument and this is more than that, right? When does it become an abuse? The presence of power and control. Was that person trying to exert power on you and control your movement? Agar nahi, so maybe it was an argument. And yes, maybe people will work things out. But if this person is trying to control you, then I think that's where one has to draw the line. So it's interesting because a lot of time callers call our helpline and they are talking to us, but they're constantly saying that this is not domestic violence. What I'm going through is not domestic violence. Because we like to stay in that denial. It's not easy, it's not easy to believe that the person you are in relationship with is abusive, right? And I think it's constant work. And I believe like kai baar helpline mein hamare paas call aate hain and then they refuse to believe this is domestic violence. But the reason that they called you, that means they know it somewhere, right? Then they will call you again. And then probably once they are ready to take that step, they're ready to do something about the situation. That is when the real journey starts with SAKHI. But before that, the fact that they picked up the phone and called us, I think that is when that sows the seed. Like that is when the movement begins. And for me, it's such a humbling movement because जब कोई बंदा आपको helpline पे call करता है, so you have to be so patient, so compassionate, and just let them be, let them speak, and let them find it out for themselves. बिकॉज मेरे कहने से या किसी और एडवोकेट के कहने से it's that's not how we want it to be. But what I have seen is that people, they know it, but they sometimes don't want to believe it for whatever reason, because this is a relationship, right? It's not a stranger. तो इतने मेमोरीज, इतने मोमेंट्स हैं उस पर्सन के साथ, तो उसको सडनली उन सब चीजों को अगर आप मतलब it's not, they're not ready to move on, like they're not ready to, and it takes work. But I think lot of women, they ultimately decided that listen, this is enough, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, and I think they are my heroes. Like I feel like the kind of struggle, the kind of belief they have in themselves, and the kind of faith, like they're like, you know, that I have to do this for myself, for my children, for my parents, for my siblings. Like, this is not okay, and they do it. I think that's a service they're doing to the entire community, not just to themselves.
When somebody calls you, वो आपको बात करते हैं, आप उनको आप in fact analyze करते हैं, जैसे आपने बताया, whether you know they need to be involved in this process or not. How is your process like? What do they go through once they call you?
Yeah. So basically, we don't, we assess the situation, but we never tell them whether they should be involved with us or not. Like, everybody is most welcome to stay connected with SAKHI and to whatever extent they want to. So it could be like, I have a client who calls me twice a year. That's all. She just calls me twice a year and she talks to me. She tells me what's going on. I do a safety plan with her. So हमारे कार्ड का एक बहुत important हिस्सा है safety planning. So this is basically, you are assessing the client situation and you're telling them what can they do if this escalates, if the situation escalates. What are the resources available? Call 911. अगर आप 911 नहीं कॉल करना चाहते हैं तो आप कहाँ जाएंगे, क्या करेंगे? क्योंकि क्या होता है कि जब कोई situation escalate हो जाती है तो a person is in a trauma situation, right? तो उनका brain will not act in the way that it will act in a normal conditions, right? तो उस चीज को इसलिए एज एन एडवोकेट, एज अ काउंसलर, हम लोग बार बार भी गो ओवर दोज थिंग्स कि आपके वो सारी चीजें हैं कि नहीं, आपके डॉक्यूमेंट्स रेडी है कि नहीं है, आपने कुछ पैसे अलग से रखे हुए हैं कि नहीं है, आपको कोई ऐसा कोई फ्रेंड जिसको वो ना जानते हो, अब्यूजर ना जानता हो, आप उसके पास जा सकेंगे कि नहीं, आपके पास क्या कोई ऑल्टरनेटिव फोन नंबर है, क्योंकि ये इस फोन पे हो सकता है वो आपको ट्रैक कर रहा हो. तो ये इन सब चीजों की हम प्लानिंग करते हैं, एंड समटाइम्स इट टेक्स मंथ्स, समटाइम्स इट टेक्स इयर्स, एंड आफ्टर दैट द survivor will decide what is the optimum, the best time for them to actually make the move. क्योंकि उनकी सिचुएशन यूनिक है, राइट? तो एक पर्सन की सिचुएशन दूसरे पर्सन के साथ नहीं अलाइन कर सकती. तो इसलिए दिस इज हाउ वी प्लान एंड वी प्रोसीड. अब अभी एक इम्पोर्टेंट बात यहाँ पे ये आती है कि व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ काउंसलर और एन एडवोकेट एंड अ फ्रेंड और अ रिलेटिव. ये है कि एक फ्रेंड और रिलेटिव के साथ जब कोई बात करता है तो उस पर्सन की कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशंस हो जाती हैं उसके साथ कि अरे मैंने उसको बोला कि वो बंदा सही नहीं है तो अभी तक उसके साथ है, तो नाउ इट इज हर प्रॉब्लम, राइट? तो इसलिए क्या होता है, धीरे धीरे लोग इसलिए शेयर करना बंद कर देते हैं, क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि अगर मैं इसके साथ ज्यादा खुलूंगी तो ये मुझसे एक्सपेक्ट करने लगेगी कि मैं आज ही उसकी बात पे अमल करूं, या आज ही आई हैव टू फॉलो व्हाट एवर शी इज सेइंग बिकॉज शी इज स्पेंडिंग सो मच टाइम टॉकिंग विद मी, राइट? लेकिन जब एक थेरेपिस्ट, एक काउंसलर बात करते हैं, वी डोंट हैव एनी सच एक्सपेक्टेशंस. वी आर लाइक वर्क एट योर पेस. हम यहाँ पे हैं, अगर मैं नहीं रहूंगी सखी में तो कल कोई और रहेगा. बट दिस इज अ प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप which is based on empathy, but we are not expecting you to act according to what we believe is true, because my personal belief may not be applicable to you right now. My professional beliefs, okay, and that will, it doesn't change. कि आप इस पे ask कर रहे हैं कि you don't owe me anything. And I think that is why, why folks go to therapists or counselors is because you don't owe anything to me. Work at your pace. और वहीं पे जब कोई किसी फ्रेंड के साथ या अपनी सिस्टर के साथ या किसी और के साथ शेयर, कॉलीग्स के साथ शेयर करने लगते हैं, तो फिर वो चीज सामने रहती है कि मैंने तो तुमको बोला था, तुमने किया नहीं, राइट?
सही बात है.
तो वो पर्सन जो होता है फिर वो और क्लोज होने लगता है. तो वो एक अब्यूजर तो उसकी लाइफ में है ही, फिर वो दूसरा पर्सन भी एक अब्यूजर हो जाता है, क्योंकि वो उससे इतनी एक्सपेक्टेशंस करने लगते हैं, राइट?
True. I think that's where the professional advice comes in,
Yes,
and
yes,
that only supports the thing that how important it is for you to actually get a professional advice.
yeah,
क्योंकि कोई
yeah.
जज नहीं
And
कर
it
रहा है ना,
happens.
आपको कोई जज नहीं कर रहा है. ये नहीं है कि आपकी बातें कहीं और जा रही हैं.
Absolutely.
You can trust that person, and that person can actually guide you in the right direction. I think you're doing a wonderful job out there, and this organization, everybody, the entire team is doing a great job and helping so many women and men as well now.
Yes.
ये इन चीजों में जाना, शिल्पी, it's very uncommon. ऐसी फील्ड को चूज करना और उसके साथ रहना इतने सालों तक. Did you have that kind of a background back home? Was anybody from your family in law or into helping others?
No, actually, no. Like my siblings, they're all engineers and they're in management. My husband is an engineer, so no. I just felt that I was. I don't know how I decided it, but I know that when I was doing my graduation, when I was 20 years old, I started my first volunteer training after volunteer position with Udayan. So this is the organization that works for children, like it's a foster home. So every weekend I would be teaching at Udayan. And that would be just so rewarding for me. Like I felt so happy when the kids were happy to see me. Then we would do projects together. I would teach them English, social studies. So I think I just felt that this is what my calling is. And yeah, and over the time I acquired skills to do it well. And at this point, I feel very satisfied with my career choice and the journey that I'm taking.
So I would say you were born with a special gene of helping others.
Yeah, and it's just that, when I help whatever, I'm helping them, but they're also helping me because I learn so much from my clients. They are such strong people. I'm in company of such strong people. Like they are the survivors, they are the brave hearts. Like I support them, but I'm in the background. It's them doing the job. And it's just a very, very humbling experience.
So let me ask you this, Shilpy. You speak to so many people. You listen to so many of their problems. इतना सब कुछ आप सुनते हो, आप उनको मदद करते हो, उस environment में आप रहते हो. While doing that, does it take a toll on you, on your emotional state?
Honestly, if I say it doesn't, that would be a lie, because it does. It does. And then you have to find tools to ground yourself. So it was interesting baat hai ki when my office, right now we are working from home, but pre-pandemic, my office was in New York City and I live in New Jersey. So for me, that crossing the Hudson River, it was like, okay, when I cross the river, I leave it there. I leave it in the city. Like I don't bring it home with me. And I always had that. I was like, okay, once I'm home, I just left it there. So that geographical boundary was so big for me. And I had like gotten so good with it. I leave it at work. I don't bring it home with me. I think that used to really help me. But yes, our pandemic was tough because then your home became your office. So all that work-related stuff was around me all the time. And it was not just me, actually, social workers around the world were facing it. It was, people, everybody who works with trauma survivors, we were all struggling with it because our home was our sanctuary, right? This was our safe space. And now suddenly we didn't have that anymore. So so yes, it was tough, but with time and with supporting each other, I think SAKHI as an organization, we supported each other a lot and we tried to work through it. So now it's much better, but you're right. Yeah, vicarious trauma happens because we are hearing so much from clients day in, day out. And but it's again, supporting each other, like people who are doing this work, we support our colleagues and we listen to each other. And we know that this doesn't mean being vulnerable is not a bad thing. If you're feeling that you need to take some time for yourself, I think you should. But my mantra is, Avani, I'm in such awe of my clients. I think they're such strong people, like so strong. And that just helps me going. That, they are going to have a better life because they made this decision to say no to abuse.
You are a mother. What is your message for the other mothers?
Yes. I think my son is 6 years old. He's a wonderful kid. I think I'm really lucky here, especially during pandemic, the way he supported me and everything. He's wonderful. But there's one thing I would say, and I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We moms, we think that we have to excel in everything. But what I have learned over time is that you have to really do few things really, really well. And there are few things you don't have to do that well, and just choose how do you divide and conquer between you and your partner. So it's two people's job. And if one person is doing it, hats off to them. I think single parenting is not easy. If anybody is doing it, I think it's wonderful. You should give yourself a pat on your back because it cannot be easy. And other than that, I think it's just share the chores, share the responsibilities. There are a few things that you don't have to do at all. Like I don't like watching kids shows and kids movies. So I don't watch those with my kids because they are too loud. I just found they're too loud. So I just don't do it. And everything else I do, I take him to the park. I make fresh home cooked meal for him every day. But no children's movies for me. They are too loud.
Too loud. See, that's what is grabbing their attention. They're glued to the TV just because of that annoying noise that goes on in the background.
I think sometimes we ask him, but I tell him that I'm not doing it. So I don't do that. So basically, I think what I'm trying to say is that we have to be okay with not doing everything. We have to normalize that. And we have to find time with ourselves, time for ourselves. And and if we make it okay, if kids see that how we prioritize ourselves, they are going to learn to prioritize themselves too, and not be, end up being people pleasers or always needing somebody. They will be more independent. And I think everybody has to learn to enjoy their own company.
That is so true what you just said. That is important and very true that, you need to learn to enjoy your own company.
Yeah.
Shilpy, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for the amazing work that you're doing for all the victims out there.
Thank you, Avani. It was wonderful talking to you, and you're such a great host, and you made the conversation so easy and free-flowing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, this is Avani from Mom's Talk. Help me spread the word and join me on my mission of motivating other moms by sharing the video. Thank you for watching.